ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome back to the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast. We are back on VAW Pod as always after a fantastic 2-0 win down at the Chigwell Construction Stadium over in Dagenham and Redbridge. Thank God it's the international break. I cannot wait to put my feet up and get stressed out over England and Germany on Friday. Not. As always, I am joined by two of my co-conspirators, as I've started to call them. Well, more like partners in crime that are always ever present and usually covering my backside when needed. You can probably already hear him chuckling. But Adam, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. It's nice to see the Arsenal winning the league again. It's been a while, and yes, it was an interesting trip to Dagenham to watch West Ham. I was there last season, and this was a nice contrast, if not the performance, the result.
No, absolutely. And as always, all the way up north is the wonderful Matt. How are you?
Literally taking the words North London forever wherever I am at the moment. Yeah, it's been a nice week, I'd say, if you're a fan of the women. If you're a fan of the men, I think you're on a bit of a downer. But if you're in between, I think you're sort of half and half camps. So I'm just happy to be talking about something positive after what's happened over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, it feels like all we've done is whinge, but thanks for that. I'm if you must know, because I do follow the men as well. I'm on an even scale at the minute, a bit like my star sign. So I'm just annoyed about the men because the same incident happened, but worse, and it was only a yellow the next day. So inconsistencies from the referees, but hey, we don't need to worry about that in the women's game. Oh wait, yes we do. But thankfully this weekend, nothing to worry about, which I'm quite happy with. But a little bit of an icebreaker. I've got you one each today. Who would like to go first?
Go on, let's go with that first.
Okay, you've been nominated, Adam. You didn't speak up good enough.
No, I was gonna give Matt first dibs, but no, I'll take this one.
So
yeah,
we all know milestones have been reached this weekend.
Yeah.
For two magnificent players in Kimi Little and Leah Volti.
Mm-hmm.
After 350 appearances for Kim Little, can you recall her first goal for the Arsenal? Who was it against? When was it? I will take month and year. It doesn't have to be the exact date.
Okay.
And if you can get the scoreline of that game, I will be very, very impressed. As well as the location, because the location is going to throw you. That threw me as well.
Yeah. I think. Oh gosh. I'm gonna say Chelsea was against. Okay. And I think it was in when did she arrive? I'm gonna say 2008.
Yes.
In was it March? No.
Making him think now, and I'm at
May. No, April.
Yes.
And I think it was a 4-1 win.
Yes. Where was it?
At Emirates Stadium, in front of about 5,000 fans, and Vic Akers told reporters, "Make a note of this kid. She's going to be a big player."
Yeah, bloody hell! Talk about batting out the park. Well done.
Yeah, because I have it on the Wikipedia article.
Oh, you're
on my
an
phone.
absolute cheat. You're an absolute cheat. Oh my god! I didn't expect you to actually cheat. You're terrible.
Of course,
You're actually terrible.
But I'm glad I
Like,
had you.
red card for Adam, red card for Adam.
I had you.
No more
I
dissent.
had you
You
on
can't argue with
strings.
me.
I
No,
had you on strings. You believe that?
no,
Yes. Yeah.
no.
Sorry,
I
knew
did
that.
the first three things, and I thought, hang on a minute, I didn't even mention how many people.
I know.
So
I will be
no,
honest. I'll be honest.
no,
I
that's
had
an
to look them
automatic
up.
disqualification. Matt wins the icebreakers this week, I think, even if he gets
Happily
the
so.
answers wrong. Right, Leah Volti, 100 WSL appearances. When was her first WSL goal?
Her first WSL goal. I was there.
I
That
know.
was against Liverpool at Prenton Park.
When?
Oh God! Now you're going back. So this was now trying. No, it wasn't last season because last season was Viv's goal. So it'll be the season before, and that would have been 22-23, 2022, October 2022, and she scored the opening goal, which was the volley on the edge of the box.
Absolutely. And in exactly 2 days' time, it would have been 2 years ago since she scored her first goal. So well done, boys. I think Matt wins that one because someone cheated.
I will gladly give that one to Matt. Like I said, it may cheat, but I will be honest about it. And it was very funny watching you think, oh, he's really having to think about this one. It was almost worth it.
No, I'm just never
acting
going to get
skills have
one
paid
over
off.
on you. Well, as it's the start of the international break, we have got an international show on Thursday. So I'm going to swiftly give that a massive swerve. I don't know who's hosting that one, but I'm sure they'll have something in store for you guys. So we've had 2 wins in a week, with Mariona and Rosa Kafaji scoring in the second half to give Arsenal a 2-0 win. We're now sitting 5th in the table, going into the break. And we're back on the 3rd of November, away to Manchester United in a ground that is closer to Wigan than it is Manchester. But interim head coach Renee Slegers. She made 2 changes in the lineup for midweek. Frida Marnham and Steph Catley are now in for Beth Mead and Leah Williamson. In terms of Leah Williamson, it's nothing to worry about. She's managing her minutes. She's had a lot of minutes in this sort of first block of the season, and it's just a case of managing her and giving her some rest. Unfortunately, she has been called up, so I'm not holding my breath for her getting like a proper rest and a recharge, unless she withdraws in the next few days. So we'll see what happens over the break. So we made our changes over our 4-1 win over Valerenga. Steph Catley alongside Leah Cadina in defence. Frida Marnham with Beth Mead. Leah Williamson is on the bench with Lottie is still out with concussion, but she is back in training, which is great. So Daphne Van Domsar keeps her place alongside Emily Fox at right back, Cadina and Catley in the centre. Kate McCabe at left back. Leah Volti and Kim Little in the midfield double pivot. Caitlin Ford on the right, Mariona on the left, Frida Marnham as the 10, and Russo up front. Is this the lineup we kind of expected, Matt?
Oh, I didn't need to say that.
You go first, Matt. I give you first dibs on this one.
I think we were thinking along similar lines that we thought Manu was going to restart this game. It comes out later through the analyst piece that Tim was doing on our blog that Daphne's use of the long ball, her long ball's a lot better than Manu's, which is why she was chosen for this game, and it caused a lot of chaos. If you do read it, it goes on to say that if you do, or even if you look back at the game, there was a couple of times with Daphne's first time long balls, they've gone straight to Alessia Russo to run on, or in the second half, Skinny Blacksmith when she came on. So that was great to see. I don't think we were expecting much of a change. I think there was a bit of a surprise for Beth as well, not starting, but because of how many minutes she plays, it's understandable that she was given a bit of a break for this one. I don't think there was any other issues where I could say throughout the squad. Maybe Leah Williamson, again, is another one with minutes. That might have been an issue. But apart from that, I don't think there was anyone else that I could consider not starting this one or even on the bench.
I was very disappointed with the lineup. I'm not saying it was unexpected, In fact, what was probably just as disappointing was just how unexpected it was. It was a perseverance of Frida and Russo, which is just exasperating now, and we sort of saw how that played out. I was intrigued by where Steph Catley at left centre back. I know she's played there a bit when we've had some injury wobbles, and seeing Leah Williamson on the bench, no Lottie. I think, what is the logic behind that? Obviously, as you said, Matt, it's sort of come out. They're trying to manage Leah's minutes.
Sorry,
Slaughter.
who? Thank you. You just said Lottie.
Lottie's concussion, yeah. Yes, and Matt is saying about the Leah Williamson and managing minutes, which I think is refreshing. It's good. I wish there were other players' minutes we could manage, but the options aren't there. But yeah, the real frustration was I saw the attack and I just thought, I'm just not getting any vibes off it. I'm not seeing anything there that's going to pick this West Ham attack apart based on the fact that we've seen those players under Jonas and it hasn't worked, and we persevered with them and it's still not working. So yeah, very disappointed with that from an attacking perspective, but also I should say the midfield too. It's Kim Little and Leah Velti paired again for like the third game in a row. I just think that's the midfield too that has worked like splendidly for the last, I want to say 5 years or so. But it's been 5 years, and those 5 years I think are starting to show. I know we don't have Victoria Palova this season, which is really unfortunate because that would be the player you would rotate around with. So you have to use the other midfielders we have in that team. And seeing them consistently start the last few games does have me concerned.
No, I completely get where you're coming from on that front. Before I forget, on the bench we did have Manny Zinsberger, Leah Williamson, Beth Mead, Rosa Kafaji, Lena Hurtig, Katrina Muller-Cool, Christina Blackstenius, Kyra Cooney-Cross, and Katie Reed made the bench this time round. Before we get into the game, I do want to run some stats by you guys because I looked at the Chelsea game at the Emirates and this game, and I'm sort of bit of a comparison. Obviously, we've had the big massive change with Jonas leaving and Sledges coming in the interim. So with the Chelsea game, we had 56% possession. We had 17 shots off target and 3 on target. 9 corners, 10 fouls. Whereas at West Ham, we had 66% possession. So the possession-based football has not changed at all.
No.
But our attempts on goal are so much better. We had 6 on target, 4 off target. We had 6 corners, but we committed 13 fouls. Adam, what do you think has changed since we've began sort of life without Jonas Eidevall between West Ham and Chelsea?
Okay, if I'm brutally honest, nothing. But there's a reason for that. So the stat wise, there's a reason why the stats are different, which I'll get to. But from what I watched from certainly the first half against West Ham, and I was making notes on my phone of what was happening, I think I made 3 notes in that first half. And that first half for me was exactly the same as we have struggled under Jonas Eidevall. I look at the Everton game at Emirates Stadium, second half against Chelsea, and you could say West Ham last season in the second half, all season before that. Any defensive team, the same old problems. I think Russo had 2 chances, and to be honest, the keeper wasn't really stretched from either of them. So
in that first half, and that was about it.
Yeah, header and one across goal. So in that first half, exactly the same under Jonas. No change, no difference whatsoever. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, Lottie, and do call me if I'm not. The difference came with the quadruple substitution. I don't think I've seen one of those before.
You are jumping way too far ahead.
But from a stats perspective, that second half after the subs, that was the difference compared to Eidevall. That in that second half, with that moment there, what was done in the last 30 minutes, what was happening there was not happening under Jonas. Now, whether that will continue after international break remains to be seen. But I hope that if it's Renee Slegers or if it's the new manager that comes in, I hope that when they set the team up, they can lean more towards the second half and move away from how we were playing in the first half. And I think that comes down to team selection, and I think it comes down to how the formation and the philosophy and mentality of the team.
Yeah, I think I'm on board with that. If it means Mariona and Kafaji start together, I'm in.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Simple as. Matt, thoughts?
Well, as Adam was making notes, I was also making notes as well, but this was
Yeah.
actually on a pen and paper. I actually didn't make any notes until the second half. That's how bored I was, because I was just like, this isn't going anywhere. But it felt very much like there's the same old problems. It was very problematic, the fact that if you're an aspiring journalist, aspiring writer, whatever it may be, maybe you want to do a little bit of podcasting. If you're looking back at it and you're making notes like you are, and there's nothing to talk about in the first half because it's been so boring, that's the worry. And even if you look at, maybe say, if you were looking to be a commentator or whatever, even if you're making notes on this or trying to think of a clip for a minute, I don't think you'd have picked any minute in that first half because it was that dull. And I think the main issue has been, I always have thought that if you have a squad for too long that's been together for, say, 3 or 4 years, like some of these players have, like Cities have, sometimes you will get used to what their formations, what their tactics are, and you just go, well, this is going to be how we beat them. And sometimes that means that you're going to drop off points because you may have brought 2 or 3 new faces in, but you haven't adjusted to make new tactics to try and find different ways to beat the opposition. And it very much felt like that was the case in the first half. And that was the worry. The first thing I written down was, if Leo Lottie is taking shots, your attack is not making good enough runs. And she had 2 shots, one in the first half and one in the second half, and that was a huge worry for me.
Yeah, no, I felt that as well. I felt that there's a lack of footballing intelligence in the midfield. There's no creativity. There is no spontaneous. What's the word? Spontaneousness.
Spontaneity.
Thank you.
Yes,
Lottie.
thank you. That's the word I want. Thank you very much. Everything is incredibly
that makes
basic.
a change, doesn't it? Boy?
I know
You don't
it
know
does.
what.
But when you watch them play, everything is incredibly basic. It's very simple. It is simple passes to feet. There is no movement. There is no clever runs, moves off the ball, clever passing, incisiveness. It gets lost in the middle, or it's flipped over, it's crossed in from the flanks and headed away, or then it's passed back into the middle again. And it's very repetitive. And it is like the entire team has just like slowly regressed into a very core, very basic setup where there's nothing happening there. And that is concerning. And I think you are right. There is an element of the team has flatlined, because I think you look at the mileage of some of the players in terms of how long they've been playing in the game and how long also they've been playing for Arsenal. A lot of these players were playing first team football before Jonas. Some of them were playing first team football before Joe Montemurro. One of the players, as we've established, they've reached milestone, congratulations to them, was playing for Arsenal before the derby side even existed. Now, as much as I was saying to a friend of mine in the crowd, as much as was it 350 appearances for Kim Little? Was that the stat? 350 appearances, WSL, Kim Little, amazing achievement.
Bearing in mind, she's been at the club since she was 17 years old.
Yeah, and there was a gap in the middle, but yeah,
I believe it is 350 all round. It's not 350 in the WSL, because that.
Oh, right, okay, so all competitions.
It's all,
Yeah.
The all-time WSL actually does go to a former Arsenal player who recently got
the Jordan Nobbs. She's on 193 now, is it?
So
194.
Yeah.
So
350.
When they did all the announcement and stuff, it was 193. Okay, my bad.
So sorry, 350 appearances, all competitions, which is still amazing. But I feel if you want I just feel that's too long to stay, either stay at Arsenal or to simply try playing at the high level. And I think it's showing in terms of the age of the midfield, the lack of speed, the lack of pace, the lack of intelligence in the attack. And it's very easy to defend against. It's very easy to neutralise. And I think we saw that first half. Now, I was obviously sat at the other end of the pitch because they were shooting towards the other end in the first half. I couldn't really see what was happening, but I think I've also got the impression that nothing was happening. And if I could see that nothing was happening from where I was stood, then it must have been clear to everybody else. And yeah, it was a poor first half, and it was a first half we've seen time and time again. And something has got to change.
No, thing is, like, I know Matt's just said there's a few things you can't even really write anything, but I've maybe got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chances that were worth writing down. We had the first chance, which was created by Mariona. It was intercepted by, is it Tiziak?
Yeah.
Tiziak. She set Marnon up, and Leonardo Marnon threw it over the bar. It just seems like we're just going straight over the bar. And then again, we had the shot from Russo. Leonardo Marnon flipped the ball around the corner from her, from the right inside channel, aimed to the bottom corner of the goal. But her shot dragged wide. I think that was the only proper chance we had in that first half for me. People could argue that Ford did really, really well to drive the ball into the box, but she just couldn't get the ball off her feet to find the cutback. But thankfully, Kimmy Little clipped the ball over to Russo, and that from the penalty spot, it's headed straight to the keeper.
I think that was the best moment for Russo in the half, was that header, and it looked very tame. And the fact that you're over-indexing one major opportunity shows how the rest of the half was.
Yeah,
and,
thing is, the only other one I've major indexed is probably Leah Volti, where she found Mariona. She cuts it and shoots with her left foot, and it's a nice, easy save for the keeper. I mean, goalkeepers union.
Yeah,
How easy was that?
It looked easy from my perspective.
Again, going back to what I've written down, if you're on the edge of the box and your defensive midfielder, who is very well known for not scoring goals or scoring very few of them, if she's getting shots on, where is the attacking runs? Where is those players willing to do the hard runs? It feels very much like, even though the season started and we've had the team have had the pre-season over in the US, they've had to do the qualifiers at home. They haven't had to go abroad this time. They've had to do it at Meadow Park, and they've done it. It feels like all that hard work is just made them very sluggish at the moment. So maybe the international break has maybe come at the right time to get back together, go back to the drawing board and rethink everything again. But now that Jonas is now left, it also means that perhaps the managerial ideas are going to change. Whoever comes in, whoever it may be, we still are not 100% sure. We're not even sure who the targets are. No, nothing's been said at all. And I mean this to everybody. If anyone has heard anything, just send us put a comment, or just send something to the to our Twitter, because it's always interesting to find out what's going to happen. But it's just to be that so dull with, let's put it, an international star-studded team, to be that dull against a West Ham team that only have 2 or 3 international players in Katrina Gorey, goalkeeper Schmodix, and I think there's 1 or 2 others. Apart from that, it feels very poor. And this is a West Ham side that's somehow continuously fighting against relegation. They have no disrespect, they have no real ambitions to go any higher. There's no real ambitions to say get into the quarterfinals of the Conti Cup, or go to another final of a FA Cup or anything like that. They just seem to be very happy and content, and sooner or later, if they don't pull their fingers out, then they could very well be relegated. I think the only reason they're not been relegated is because you look at some of the other teams that have, Reading, for example, financial trouble, Birmingham, they just didn't turn up. Brighton nearly got to, I've only just turned around there.
Bristol
went down. Yeah,
Bristol City straight away. it'll be very interesting this season between West Ham, Everton, and Palace. I think Palace are more likely to stay up more than ever. Everton are in the middle of an injury crisis, and I don't know if West Ham are going to be able to do anything. They just feel very. They didn't really offer anything going forward. I think the only thing that
Thing is,
was
they haven't really offered anything in the last few seasons, and that's why I think I've backed them to go down. I don't see the point of them, especially if they're not backed by the other half.
No, I get you.
You laugh at me, but if you look at the clubs who are backed, Arsenal, United is a half back in Chelsea, City, Man United, Brighton in the mix, Villa in the mix. They're all getting on board. Even the Crystal Palace are backed because they're getting the funding from the men's as well as funding. They're getting support from the men's team, and that's what you want to see as the game grows. But continue laughing at me, Adam. Go on. And then you get
I agree. That's the thing. That is exactly it. They are the most unbacked team in the WSL. They have not been relegated purely out of default because there have been worse teams. There have been worse back than them who have dropped down. I was saying at the ground, we're at Dagenham and Redbridge's ground, which is I didn't mind it. Some people really don't like the stadium. For me, it's an old school football ground. You're stood behind the goal.
Old school football ground, but it's
we're not at the London. Yeah, they don't play their games at the London Stadium. They're one of the few, I think, either few or only team that does not play their games at their main stadium, which speaks volumes. They have no attack. The closest they came to scoring, I think, was in the first half. In the first few minutes, at a free kick that it went just over the bar and almost hit me on the head, and that was it. Pretty much, there was no threat.
There was a sort of attack from is it Asayi? She took the ball down. She turned Catley over and she dragged the shot wide of Daphne.
If we're over-indexing our chance in the first half, we're having to massively index the fact that was West Ham's chance for probably the entire match. They haven't won at home since they beat us last season at home.
Oh, I know that. But the thing is, do you know what? I was waiting last season. I still stand my ground. She cheated. Asayi cheated. She cheated. She just went down when it wasn't necessary. I stand by my guns, what I said last season.
Yeah.
Because we were already I can't remember how many what we was down or we were drawing or whatever. Then she cheated, and I don't like her as a player. And I can't. It's something so blatant as it was. No, I don't have time to make it.
So, for me, there are better backed clubs in the Championship that deserve to be in the WSL ahead of West Ham United. That's why, I'm not saying I want clubs to go down, but I've always felt like Birmingham City, when they were in the WSL, it got to the point where it was like, you don't deserve to be in the WSL because you're not pulling your weight. Reading obviously went into the mire. That's not the players' fault. It's not the fans' fault. That's on the owners. But if you're not going to pull your weight as a club, please leave and please bring someone into the league who's going to contribute. And I feel that West Ham United have overstayed their welcome. They have ridden the wave of women's football popularity without putting any effort in whatsoever. And quite frankly, if you're not going to do that, they can depart. I do want to touch on something Matt did say about us and sort of the team. In the last time we had an interim manager was in 2017, and it was after a very similar start to this, very lethargic, team all over the shop. We went to Manchester City and started with Jodie Taylor up front and had Miedema on the bench, just as an idea, right? Joe Montemurro comes in with a fresh take on the team, with a different viewpoint. He plays different players. McCabe was on the way out the door. He picked McCabe more. She became one of our great left backs. So a fresh voice, a fresh ideas, a new manager coming in can revitalise a team that looks like it's going nowhere. So I think as a new manager coming for us I'm not saying we're not going to win. I don't think we're going to win league, but it could give us momentum to take into the next season. And I think that's the hope that whoever they pick can, because there is talent here. It just needs to be shaped in the right way. And I don't think Idavale, and at the moment, I don't quite think Renee either has quite got the puzzle correct with this team. There is something there. They just haven't quite assembled it properly.
We just need someone to resolve the Rubik's Cube that we've got.
Yeah.
So on to Adam's favourite part of the game. Quadruple substitution at 58 minutes.
Yes.
Mead, Cooney Crossbacks, Denius and Kafaji come on for Ford, Little, Alessia Russo and Frida Liards and Mornham. Gosh, Rosa was a sight for sore eyes, wasn't she, Matt?
Yeah, the second thing I've actually written down is Rosa comes on, has been on much better than any attacker in the opening 55 minutes. She was on for 30 seconds and she was already pressing.
I mean,
And
she
well,
rised to West Ham, and that's the kind of player you want to be starting. Am I wrong, Adam?
No, you're not wrong at all. I was half time. I almost tweeted it. I sort of half it in the end, but I was just waiting for full time. Arsenal 0, West Ham 0, and Rosa stuck on the bench. And I was just thinking that I could just see that happening because it happens. It's happened like under Jonas, when we had Rose on the bench and we were drawing against Everton and losing against Chelsea. Thinking, why are we not throwing Rosa at this? Rosa came on against Manchester City. It changed the game. We got a point out of the game. We would have lost it without her. And for me, the reason we haven't been seeing Rosa is because the manager went into crisis mode. And when you go into crisis mode, you just stick with the players you know, and you don't risk any of the new people. You don't risk,
Yeah,
you don't risk Molekul. You don't risk Rosa Kafaji. You don't risk the youth players. You just double down on the experience and hope that that can get you over the line. And I do feel sorry for Rosa, but she's almost been a bit of like collateral damage to this whole Ardevale train going off the rails. Thankfully, she was brought on in this game and the game was screaming for her. I am impressed with Renee of how drastic she was. I don't think I've seen a quadruple sub before, as I said earlier. And again, we definitely need it. If we're going to talk about all the subs, I'll just say quickly that I don't think Beth Mead had anywhere near the impact she could have done in the game. But I would say that Stina certainly did. Rosa definitely did. And I thought Kyra offered a fair bit in that midfield. I was talking to people afterwards and they were quite impressed with what Kyra did in that midfield. And I think offered a different level of dynamism that the partnership of Kim and Leah just wasn't offering. And I think that injection of youthful energy in that midfield is what it needs now. I think the tank is running dry between Kim and Leah. Great midfielders. I mean, Kim Little's a legend. I am not saying that she's a legend, okay? I'm not trying to disparage her at all.
Oh, don't.
But
I've opened up my social media to people
Yeah.
tweeting she needs to go to the gym. So yeah, that tweet has stuck with me, and I'm not gonna name and shame because that person has just disappointed me so much.
There's a lot of Kim Little love out there, but I think a lot of the people who do support her are maybe recognizing that she hasn't hit the levels this season that previous Kim Littles would have done. And I think she's an outstanding player who has played at such a high level for so long. I think you might be seeing that start to creak. And I think Kyra coming in off the bench just injected a bit of action and a bit of energy that was needed. Rosa Kafaji, yes. I mean, the way I described it was every time she had her foot on the ball, you felt something was going to happen. You didn't know what it was going to be, and it might be terrible, but something was going to happen.
Sorry, Adam. Do you see why I get so excited now? Yeah, I watched her through the Champions League last season. She was the reason I watched Harkin, and I watched every single game right up to that quarterfinal with PSG. This is why I get excited.
What really helped Rosa, she was playing on the left, and that is where all the Arsenal fans were sat in the away end. So she was basically entertaining them. And every time on the ball, there's excitement, there's cheers. She's just running with the ball, but she's, her pass could go wide, the ball could take an offer, but she's trying to take the defender on. She's trying to make something happen. Her first thought is forward. It's not backwards. It's not sideways. It's how can I impact the game in the moment? And there were, I'm not going to touch the goal because we're going to come back later. But in the moments that stuck with me, watching her play, there was a moment I think she was able to beat a defender, burst into the box, and she could have done anything. She could have crossed it. She could have cut it back. She went for a shot. It probably wasn't on, and it was a good save by the keeper. But what stuck with me is the rebound, is that she didn't want to wait to go out for a corner. She wanted to get that ball back in and keep she headed it out and it became a goal kick, and she was very frustrated with herself. It's like, I should let go for a corner, play the percentages, get the set piece.
Kind of after what I want to talk about next.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm sorry, but it's just, there was so many moments.
The first goal was like, okay, we're going to go with this then. Continue.
No, but it was things like that. It's just the trying, always looking to be positive, and it was really good to see. And Beth Mead and Caitlin Ford are great wingers. They are brilliant footballers, but I am not seeing them do that. This is different,
right? For me, when they came back out, I don't know if you noticed, but Mariona and Caitlin swapped sides.
I see that happen a lot. Yeah, players, and they've been doing a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Mariona, we've seen her where she's been. I actually haven't seen her swap once yet, unless I've completely missed it. They've actually swapped, which is something we used to see all the who did we see all the time?
It was
It was
Ford and
Beth
Mead.
Mead. Yeah,
Ford
it
and Mead
wasn't.
is
No, it
yeah.
Ford and Mead all the time. It was someone else on
When
the left.
Lena Hurtig did have that purple patch, she would come
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm thinking of. Like, but we don't have that switch like say Beth and Lauren Hemp do for England. That's what I kind of want to see, but we need someone that can switch like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Kafaji, has a level of versatility to her, as does Mariona. At the moment, we're having to play Mariona at 10. She wasn't playing 10 originally. She was, when Frida came off, she was moved to 10. And it meant that you did get a bit of interplay between Mariona and Kafaji, which is quite an exciting prospect. But yes, I know a lot of us are rightly very excited about it. But it was just, as I said earlier about footballing intelligence, the way that everything was so basic, it was so simple. It was like Arsenal had a bit of flair when they played under Joe Montemurro, even if tactically they were a bit naive and got exposed very easily by the bigger teams. And Jonas has sort of flipped the script over, and it's all been about the structure and how we engage the opposition and how we press. But it's become at the expense of attacking flair and imagination and creativity.
Of the fact that we need a manager that can balance the two. We've gone too far
Exactly.
left, too far right.
Yes.
Where can we have someone sit in the middle of the scales, and can we have both? Do you think, Matt?
Yeah.
So the manager that I quite like is Mariona Cabral, and she has a very Serena Weidman vibe to her. She'd rather, using the Johan Cruyff, she'd rather win a game 5-4 than win it 1-0, because she prefers that attacking play. But it also means that you're there not just to entertain, but you're there to give that. You look at the attacking talent that we have. I reckon she's probably one of the best ones that we've got. You look at some of the other candidates I did mention, we haven't had many. Some of the mentions that have been from fans, in Casey Stoning, defensive coach, who was with Man United, she couldn't get things across the line. And that's kind of one of the worries that you do have with Casey Stoning. Not only is she defensive, can she get things across the line? She eventually did with Sandy Wave. So this team is built for an attacking manager, head coach, whatever you want to call them. It's just got to be done the right way, and making sure that they can figure out how to do the midfield. I think there's also, we've touched on the midfield. I think that's one of the reasons why Kira Walsh was looked at and targeted over in the summer, is the fact that Kim Little doesn't have the legs anymore. You've got Kyra Crony-Cross, exciting player. You've got Friedel and Hartman. You're looking to play her in the attacking midfielder role. But at the moment, Trinkle's not doing it, if not even playing any minutes, or when she does, she's only playing 2 minutes. So it's difficult to say what's going to happen with her. But at this moment in time, it's you need to make sure that the momentum is going. I think it might be a case of Rosa might be, as Adam, you've mentioned this before. You think Rosa was going to be the impact sub, and there happened times this season she has been the impact and she has been the difference. If you look at it all together, she's won us 4 points from so far this season. Just coming off the bench.
I mean, I was winding this back and thinking, in every game she's played this season, and I'm trying to think of the game she's played, there has been a moment when she's either done something or she's almost done something. The Rangers game, with the last kick of the game, she almost lobbed the keeper and it just cleared the crossbar. Man City game, obviously, that was the set up the Beth Mead goal. Hecking away, she hit the bar. I mean, maybe she scored, fair enough. Leicester City away, she had a really good 1v1 chance. Okay, good save by the keeper. This game, we'll get to what happened at the end, but every single time in the game where she's actually played, she has either done something or become incredibly close to doing something. Now that is really good. That's something and we've said before, she's a very raw talent, and that final third action really needs honing down. That is the thing, and that's when I said we don't know what she's going to do, and it's that final third action that is just that if she can get that right, then she's going to be amazing. I mentioned about the interim manager, the new manager coming, etc. We made an interim manager. Their first game as an interim manager in the WSL was a 2-0 win away at Everton, and a certain Vivian Miedemar scored their first goal for Arsenal. They played Miedemar in the game and they got a goal, and obviously her Arsenal career just went off from there. And I just wonder if again, jumping ahead slightly, giving a player like Rosa Kafaji now the chance to grow and use this season to grow her. I think you just got to play her, given what's at the moment. Give her time to play and play her way into the team and into form, and then you'll see more of what we saw in that second half.
No, fingers crossed. I hope so. Blackstenius's penalty. 70 minutes. Kate McCabe played the pass behind Blackstenius. She was bundled over by Tizia. Stonewall or soft penalty?
Soft. It's soft. So first, can we just say firstly, the pass from McCabe is brilliant. It's a brilliant pass, and Stina was making these runs the moment she came off the bench. She had one a bit earlier where she dinked over the keeper, and it was I thought it was going in, and it just went wide. But that's what she was offering that Russo wasn't in the first half. She was occupying the defenders. She was making runs behind, pushing that defence back. Great pass from McCabe. The defender is so naive. You're touch tight to Stina. Don't slide in, because the moment you slide in, you make the striker make the decision. And that is I don't think it's a dart. I think there is contact, but the incriminating evidence is all there for the referee to see. She's stuck her leg out for the ball. She's missed. She's come across Stina. Stina's hit the ground. I do think it's soft. I don't think she was like wiped out or anything, but it is.
It might have been soft, but I'll take it.
Matt? I would say, I was just thinking that one. Last season, we had stronger penalty chances turned down. So I think there's an element of universe balancing out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Karma's come back, so to speak. Matt, no Kimmy, no problem for Mariona after she took that penalty and put us 1-0 up.
That was the one thing you maybe feel like, who's going to take one if Kim last season you had Katie take one. I'm trying to think of other people that took one when Kim wasn't there. I think there have been other people that have taken one, even in the penalty shootout.
Russo took one.
That's serious. Yeah, she got the brace. And she
was against City. Was that United last season in the Emirates?
She scored against Chelsea.
Oh yeah, Chelsea. Sorry, I was square on. I knew it was one of the big ones.
It'll be interesting to see what happens should a penalty. Should there be like more than one penalty, or if there's a penalty shootout in cup competition, who steps forward? I think Mariona is a solid choice to take penalties. I think Rosa would probably be very interesting. I know we've talked about her a little bit. I think we'll talk about her a little bit more for a goal. I'll save what I want to say for that because, but it'll be interesting to see going forward who else is going to be taking penalties, because Steph Catley has taken them for Matilda's. But yeah, it was a great penalty to actually just decoy the goalkeeper. She thinks she's going right. She puts it the other side of her, no problem, and just to put the team on the way to 3 points. And I think that goal was the main point of the team driving forward, trying to look for another goal throughout that game.
No, so yeah, we're 1-0 up. Happy? Yes or no?
Relieved is, I think there's a limit. I felt, given the struggles we've had, and we've had a lot of struggles in the league, we just needed something to go our way. You know, I think back to the Chelsea game, Stina shot coming back off the bar. You just need just the dice to come your way. And I thought that penalty was that moment. And you just thought, right, we've got something here. Don't chuck it like Everton away last season. Let's just see this out. Yeah. And I thought we were good.
No, definitely. I mean, the Blackstenius should have scored at 85 minutes. Beth moved to play the long ball behind Stina, but the ball sort of bounced awkwardly. I am putting that in inverted commas. And touch from Stina was absolutely terrible. And
I was screaming lob.
Ended up grabbing it.
I was screaming lob. I was behind the goal. It's like, we know that one she duffed against Manchester City when she tried to go around the keeper. I was about to think, just flick it over, so just lob, but it waited and the keeper claimed it. And I was just thinking, again, she's a player that needs a goal, Stina. Just use that first goal.
The thing is, we know once she's got one, she's off. We know this.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for weeks. We've been saying it for all the Stina stands, and they know. They know just one goal and you're off for the season. It's just a shame it's taken kind of this long.
This long. Yeah.
So in the second half, West Ham had like 2 chances. Yuki, is it Yuki?
Yes.
Might have been,
Yeah. She had far too much time to cross a ball to an unmarked Harry's into the box, but Van Damster was there. She grabbed the shot, and another from a free kick from Brynjar's Dottir. Met with the delivery, headed down again. Daphne there was pushing it out around the post. What have you made of Daphne in this game from what little activity she had, Goalkeepers Union?
I've already mentioned about the long balls, so attacking wise, she was fantastic. She's a safe pair of hands. You can say that about most goalkeepers. You're not going to worry about someone's going to Rob Green it between the legs or do a Hannah Hampton like she did at the weekend, shall we mention. It's one of those there. I think a lot of the fans have a lot of faith for Daphne because of what happened in that Euros. They were able to witness that live. A lot of Arsenal fans were watching the Euros, and that was their sort of first experience of watching some of these Arsenal players for the first time, and especially the Dutch fans. I think they have a lot of appreciation for Daphne. The fact that she was, I'm just going to probably correct me if I'm wrong, about 19 when she came on in that game against Sweden for Sorry, thank you. This my memory going a bit hazy here.
Are you getting old?
You could say that, but we're all getting old, aren't we?
Don't rub it in. Don't rub it in.
No.
You're the younger of the three of us.
Yeah, you're the youngest. Rude.
You're the youngling here.
Backfired.
Not by much. Let's just put it that way. The idea is that I think Daphne, as I mentioned earlier pods, that Daphne is the future goalkeeper and Manu is the present. I don't know what's going to happen between now and, but there'll be tactical decisions where Daphne will be more suited to the game compared to a Manu, and that might probably be the difference between what happens, say, in next summer. She's a fantastic goalkeeper. I think there's a lot of love between WSL fans for Daphne as well. So it's I'll be interested to see what happens. Again, we've got a little bit of a break now for international, so we'll wait and see if it's going to be Daphne's the number one or Manu comes back in for the game against Man United.
I think it's going to be interesting because obviously I believe Van Domster's on international duty, whereas Manu, there's no international fixtures. So that's going to be interesting when we're coming back, especially away to Man United. I think we're now getting to the best bit of the match. I'm like 89 minutes, Mariona Galdentes collected the ball. The vision she has to find Stina Blackstenius and pass the tackle into the midfield, straight down the lines to her, and then for Stina to square it over to Rosa Kafaji, where she's met the cross the first time and just fired her shot behind Seismic. She has arrived at the WSL. She has opened her Arsenal account. Adam, what was the ground like? You must have been going berserk from the other end of the field. I know I did jump over my sofa and break a glass, but yeah.
Oh dear. Well, we didn't quite do that. But as I said before, there was a lot of joy towards Rosa in the crowd before she even got her goal, as I've tried to dance around for most of the pod. And I think it's because she is such an entertaining player. She excites whenever she touches the ball, but also there's an element of we've finally seen her unleashed because she's been restrained on the bench for so long. She's finally been allowed out to play. The goal I really do like. It's a really good counter-attacking goal. One of the things I've said is, well, it's a lot easier for us to score once we've got that first goal. Once we've got our foot in the door, the game opens up and we can play a bit. It's just getting that initial goal was a problem. And I did feel more confident of us getting a second goal after the penalty, and this obviously paid off. West Ham start showing a slight bit of threat and, you know, bit of late pressure, chasing that late equaliser, and that was the bit I was really worried about. A late equaliser, you know, a header from a corner, they can run away celebrating, and Renée-naissance will go, oh well, we battled hard, and Arsenal good side of the character shown, etc., hard on point, you know, we'll take that, and the usual rhetoric. We defend the corner. It's a really good counter attack, and for me, the goalkeeper, I know she's come up, you know, because the ball's fallen short of the halfway line. Her clearance isn't great, but the way that Arsenal pick up the pieces and Mariona makes that pass, the defender misses the tackle, and we're watching it sort of unfold in front of us, and we can say, it's on here. We can clinch it. Great pass from Stina, and I say credit to Rosa because she's got two defenders on her, and she makes that ball and she hits the top corner. Nothing the keeper can do, and there's a joy to it that you know that the win is safe, and it's our first win there since Matt was there. It's our first win there since I know Matt knows. It's our first win there since 2022. But it's also obviously a win, a long-awaited win. We haven't won in the league since Leicester away when me and Matt were there, and just sort of round out what was we were poor. We were poor for an hour, but for half an hour we actually looked like a decent football team, and I'll leave it at that. I don't think we were anything near electric, but we offered more than what West Ham offered in the entire game, and I've no doubt that we deserved those 3 points, and Rosa deserved her moment. Every player needs that moment, and as mentioned earlier about Miedemar, Everton away, got that first goal. Rosa got her first goal. She's had her moment. I think she won player of the match with the fans. They were all singing her name at full time, you know, with her new chant, which if you want to know the lyrics, you can find it on the VAW Pod Twitter account. We've got a nice picture showing you the lyrics so you can know
And
them.
Instagram.
And Instagram too. Well mentioned. Remember, because I forgot. It was a really good moment, and it just, after what's been a really tough start to the season, if we're honest, it's not been great. There's been a lot of misery and frustration and anger. We've seen that spill over. We've seen the fallout to that and what's happened since. This was a real feel-good story, and it put a smile off on all of our faces just before the international break.
No, absolutely. I think Matt might have had it added to his smile after the goal. Cameras didn't even pick up the change. Katie Reid came on for Emily Fox with 4 minutes stoppage time, and I think for me, I was screaming at the TV for a clean sheet. For my fantasy football, technically I forgot that Emily Fox had come off, so I thought I'd lose it and I didn't. So more for me, but last sort of action of the game, Steph Catley made good intervention to deny Brynjar Dostia. I can't pronounce that name. That's driving me mad. Thank you. And Arsenal this Arsenal team managed to deal with the set piece. So, and that was the end of that. I was having flashback to the men's game on the Saturday night. So overall, I think the final question I'm going to put to you guys tonight: Renee Slegers, stay or go?
I think she'll see out a contract, which I believe will be up in the summer.
When I say go, I mean go back to her old job.
Oh yeah, she'll go
a new
back.
one comes in. Sorry, I should have been a bit more clear on that.
You mean stay as manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she'll go back to her old job.
I think you can make the case for her to stay as a full-time manager. I have on my piece of Sporting News posed the question because she has been asked the question by the press. You know, have you applied for the job? It's not uncommon for interims to go full-time and for those interims to be success. And the obvious one is Zinedine Zidane at Real Madrid. Went from, you know, coming in after Rafa Benitez and won a lot of Champions Leagues. So it can happen. It can also go badly. From what I know of her, very young manager, younger than Arteta, and has been managing since her late 20s. But she had a very bad knee injury, went into management, won league titles out in I think it's out in Sweden. Has come over here. She's won 2 games, one of them which a place we've struggled at in recent seasons. I don't think the performances have been spectacular, but she has got the results. As much as it was the case, and Arteta and Arsenal have made a habit of investing in young managers.
Arteta on the brain.
Arteta is another one, but Arteta was a young manager that Arsenal invested in,
Yeah,
rode
I
out
know.
the storm of They tried that with Ida Bell because Ida Bell was a similar sort of profile, and
I would
Ida Bell.
argue though that Mikel had no experience, whereas Jonas has.
Well, this is the point. Sledgers has more winning experience, has won more than Arteta has from a managerial perspective. This was Arteta's obviously first gig. René's had a bit previously, but we went with they backed Arteta. It worked. They backed Jonas. He walked away. They could easily do it with Sledgers, but I think they will go for someone fresh, and I think the team needs someone fresh, and I think that's the way it will go.
Okay, interesting. I actually don't have an answer for this one. I just wanted your guys' opinions.
Yeah,
I'm on the fence. It's a case of it is. How do I put this politely? Yes, Vålerenga are the current league champions and currently are about, I think, 10 plus points adrift of Rosenborg.
One of the Rosens, yeah.
So they're 10 points adrift. They're in the Champions League for a reason, but the quality of football to the Norwegian league to us,
Yes,
sky limits. And again, it's West Ham.
Yeah.
So,
what we'll just quickly add is, based on what's in the press conferences and their interviews with the media, based on what's in here, even if she doesn't become manager here, she is going to become a first team manager somewhere else, and she's going to do well. And it may be another club in the WSL or another league, but she is going to be a good manager. I have no doubt.
She has, though, openly said that she's not interested in the job in the press conferences. So there's another point.
Yeah, no, sorry, I do apologise. I was just double checking something. I think I've made a bit of a dunderhead there with that other team that plays with Vålerenga. But that is all we've got time for today. Thank you for joining me, boys, tonight. It's very unusual for us to be doing everything on a Monday night. But unfortunately, I've got to go and torture myself for men's football tomorrow. Well, it's not torture, but gonna go watch some Champions League football tomorrow night in the cold, so that's gonna be fun. You can catch up with the pod social media accounts on VAW Pod on Instagram and on Twitter. Just a reminder, I'm no longer on social media due to people stealing my photos and selling Arsenal tickets. But you can find my co-conspirators on Twitter and Instagram. Matt, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Massala28.
You can find me on Twitter and Threads and Instagram at Adam_Salter4. And you can find all things historical, like our 2-0 win over Everton that I plugged many times in the pod, on at the AW Archive, the Arsenal Win Archive, and there's plenty more historical footage on the way.
And that is a good night, and we're back on Thursday with our international shows. Come on, you Gunners.